Just call us the Dream Team.
Good evening, everybody. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Hi, hello, Anya. I forgot to turn on the music before I started, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just get the music going real quick here. But let me go. Oh, I forgot to remove some of these guys from last time. My bad. Tee. And let me turn my phone off. There we go. But but first let me go down the list real quick here. Okay. MM, thank you for the resub for the 15 months. I appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yum. And MM, thank you for collecting your daily paw. Ninja, thank you for collecting your daily paw. Hi, Jay. Welcome in. Thank you for collecting your daily paw. I saw your pictures earlier. Girly, you are looking gorgeous as always. Also, hi, Vaz. Thank you for collecting your daily paw. My throwing power has been taken. Yes, it has. What are you going to do about it? I took your throwing powers. What are you going to do about it? Thanks for using me. You were beautiful. Evil. I know. Thank you. I forgot how loud that was in my ears. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, no, you're welcome, Jay. I'm happy to give you some amazing pictures that I got when I was out yesterday. That was amazing. I saw. But it's okay, Vess. You can save up your points for next time. I will definitely have my redeems and everything for next time, so don't worry. Even. Anyway, okay, get the music going. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Let me know if the volume needs to be adjusted or anything, folks. Okay, there we go. But hi everybody, how's everyone doing today on this fine evening on Sunday? I actually thought today was Saturday and I realized like, wait a second, it's not Saturday. I was out all day yesterday, I forgot about that. I was out all day yesterday on Saturday and I was like, wait a minute, I forgot, it's not Saturday anymore. But yeah, no, sorry I didn't get a chance to stream yesterday. I was incredibly exhausted as soon as I got home. Little thing of where I went yesterday. Before we hop into the bedtime stories, I went out with my mom yesterday out to our local county to a fantastic museum, and we poked around and everything. I think we're actually, I should say, a very famous museum plotland for a very, very, very famous author that I never knew existed at all, but my mother and my grandmother knew about him. And when my mom told me, it's like, do you not know who Jack London is? And I'm like, no, I've never heard of him. And she's just like, man, I failed as a mother. And grandma's rolling in her grave right now. And I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry, Mom. But we went to basically his, I guess you could say his estate essentially, which is basically like a plot of land that he had along with like his cottage, his original house where he did his workings, all that stuff there, and learned about his history and also his books as well. Very, very famous man, honestly. I was not expecting this young man back in like the 1900s to be this famous for what he's done and everything that he's done as well. It was actually amazing to hear about his story and like his career life. It's fantastic. But yeah, I took a lot of pictures of everything I caught there, so it was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. I was super happy with it. Why did that flash off on the screen? I forgot to mute that. My bad. Jay, thank you for the sub for 4 months. I appreciate you, darling. Thank you. I appreciate you, my dearie. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thank you for the subbies of 4 months. God, it's been 4 months already since you subscribed. Man, it's wild. I appreciate it nonetheless, my dear. Thank you, thank you. Enjoy those awesome emotes that you got cooking right there. But yeah, no, I took a lot of pictures and everything and learned a lot, and also got a bunch of also got a couple books myself as well about his story, his life, and also one of his very famous books as well that I picked up and found that I was like, you know what, this looks interesting. One second. If anyone is interested in checking out his book, Jack London is the author's name, and that is the book I picked up, Call of the Wild. It is, from what I understand, it follows a young dog who unfortunately was kidnapped from his home and was sent to work as a sleigh dog and back in the gold rush time, and he now has to work on getting his way back. So I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I saw it and I was like, you know what, this looks really interesting, and my grandmother really loved the book as well, so I was like, you know what, I'm doing this for her honor. Also, Yusa, welcome on in. Hello, and thank you for welcome on in, my dearie. It's a pleasure to meet you. Hope you're doing well tonight. Welcome. Also, Arto, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to Strays, my dearie. Hello. Pleasure to meet you, my dearies. Welcome on in. Hope you're all doing well tonight. Okay, let me go ahead and grab my book. It is under some stuff. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, my book was under some stuff, so now we got it there. There we go. Okay, last time we left off, we are on chapter 15. We have roughly about 10 more chapters before we're actually done with book 1, which I'm super excited about. Then we can officially move on to chapter 2, or book 2, which is actually the volume I stopped at myself personally. I got halfway through volume 2, and then I dropped the book for a couple other things I was reading at the time. So I don't remember a whole lot that was happening in volume 2, so it's actually gonna be a nice little catch up, reread for myself to actually figure out what's going on. So yeah, so we're gonna be doing 5 chapters. So we're gonna be doing 5. I can't English. Send help. We're gonna be doing 5 chapters again tonight, and then we'll be saving the rest of them. We'll be saving the last 5 chapters next week, or this week, on either Friday or Saturday. Let's hop into it, chat. Hope you guys are all cozy in your beddy buys and everything. I have a cat right behind me who is out cold sleeping right now. Oh yeah, no, he is out cold right now. My baby boy sleeping. He's happy. He's like, he's got mama. Alright, let's go ahead and get started with the reading, shall we, chat? Sorry, just figuring out the adjustments of my desk here because it's driving me crazy. There we go. Just turn that down just a tad. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's hop into it, shall we? Bluestar stood and began to pad toward Mother Mouth. Claw walked beside her, matching her stride step for step. Come on, Ravenpaw, called Greypaw. Ravenpaw was still sitting on the rock, staring up at the rocks. At Greypaw's mew, he stood and began to follow slowly. Firepaw realized his friend had hardly said a word the whole journey. Is he just worried about ShadowClan? Or is there something else troubling him? Firepaw wondered. It took the cats only a few moments to reach Mother Mouth. Firepaw stood. just my mouth. It took the cats only a few moments to reach Mother Mouth. Firepaw stood on the threshold and peered inside. Blackness beyond the stone archway was darker than the coldest night. Cloudiest night, I'm sorry. Music is just a tad louder than you? Okay, thank you, Jay. Appreciate that. I will go ahead and turn it down. There we go. Is that a little bit better? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Thank you, my dearie. I always have trouble trying to figure out the volume settings on these. Okay, yeah. Okay. It took the cats only a few moments to reach Mother Mouth. Firepaw stood on the threshold and peered inside. The blackness beyond the stone archway was darker than the cloudiest night. Firepaw narrowed. I just lost my place. Oh dear. Firepaw narrowed his eyes, trying to see where the tunnel led, but he couldn't see anything. Besides him, Greypaw and Ravenpaw craned their heads nervously around the entrance. Even Tireclaw seemed unsettled by the black hole ahead of them. How will we find our way in such darkness? He asked. I will know the way, answered Bluestar. Just follow my scent. Ravenpaw and Greypaw will remain on guard outside. Firepaw, you will accompany me and Tireclaw to the Moonstone. Firepaw felt a thrill jolt through him. What an honor. Firepaw glanced sideways at Tireclaw. The warrior sat with his chin boldly raised. But Firepaw could detect a subtle fierce scent coming from him. It grew stronger as Bluestar stepped forward into the blackness. Tireclaw shook his mighty head and padded after Bluestar. With a brief nod to the other princes, Firepaw followed. Inside the cave, his eyes still detected nothing. The complete and utter blackness felt strong, but he was surprised to find that he wasn't frightened. His eagerness to discover what lay ahead was stronger. The cold, damp air reached through his thick fur and into his bones, stiffening his muscles. Even the coldest nights did not hold the same chill as the air here. This ground has never known the warmth of the sun. Thought Firepaw, feeling the rock smooth like ice beneath his paws. Freezing air filled his lungs with each breath until he felt lightheaded. He followed Bluestar and Tireclaw through the darkness, judging his way by the scent and feel alone. They were walking along the tunnel that sloped down and down, winding first way and then the other. Firepaw's whiskers brushed the side of the cave, telling him where to walk and where to turn. His nose told him that Bluestar and Tireclaw were only a tail length ahead of him. Loda, welcome on in, my dear. Thank you for collecting your daily paw, and thank you for the hydrate, my dear. 1 second there. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate that. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well tonight. Welcome. On and on they went. How far have we come? Firepaw wondered. Then he felt a tingle in his whiskers. The air in his nostrils seemed fresher than before. He sniffed again. Relieved to smell the familiar world above. He smelled peat and prey and the scent of heather. There must be a hole somewhere in the roof of the tunnel. Where are we? He mewed in the darkness. We have entered the cavern of the Moonstone, came Bluestar's soft reply. Wait here. It will be moon high soon. Firepaw folded his hind legs under him on the chilly stone floor and waited. He could hear the steady breathing of Bluestar and the more rapid, fierce-scented panting of Tireclaw. Suddenly, in a flash, more blinding than the setting sun, gate was lit up. Firepaw's eyes were wide open after the blackness of the tunnel. He closed them quickly against the cold white light, and slowly he opened them into tiny slits and peered ahead. He saw a gleaming rock which glittered as if it were made from countless dewdrops. The moonstone. Firepaw looked around. In the cold light reflecting from the stone, you could make out the shadowy edges of a high-roofed cavern. The moonstone rose up from the middle of the floor, 3 lengths high. Bluestar was staring upward, her fur bleached white in the glow of the moonstone. Even Tarqua's dark pelt shone silver. Firepaw followed Bluestar's gaze. High in the roof was an opening that revealed a narrow triangle of the night sky. The moon was casting a beam of light through the hole, down onto the moonstone, making it sparkle like a star. Beside him, Firepaw smelled. Tarqua's fear scent growing until it became overpowering. Firepaw felt startled. But were I see something else here? Something dangerous? He saw a flash of movement, felt fur rush past him, and heard the fleeing paw steps of Tarkov racing back to the entrance. Firepaw? Bluestar's voice was quiet and calm. I'm still here, he answered nervously. That frightened Tarkov. Bluestar? Firepaw mewed again, and she didn't answer. His heart was beating fast, making the blood roar in his ears. It is all right, young warrior. Don't be afraid. Bluestar murmured. Her calm voice settled him a little. I think Tarkov was surprised by the power of the moonstone and the world above. Colin, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to Strays, my dearie. Thank you so much. I'll be doing well tonight. Welcome on in. In the world above, Tarkov is fearless and mighty, and a mighty warrior. But down here, where the spirits of the StarClan speak, the cat needs a different kind of strength. Do you feel, Firepaw? Firepaw sniffed the air deeply and forced his body to relax. Only my own curiosity, he admitted. That is good, Bluestar replied. Firepaw looked back at the moonstone. His eyes had gotten used to its light, and he was no longer dazzled. Instead, it soothed him. With a twitch of his tail, he remembered his dream. It was the brilliant ball of light he had seen. Spellbound, Firepaw watched as Bluestar padded up to the stone and lay down beside it. She reached her head forward and touched the moonstone with her nose. Her blue eyes sparkled with its reflection for a moment before she closed them. Now she rested her head on her paws, her eyelids flickering, paws twitching occasionally. She sleeping? Firepaw remembered. And Firepaw remembered Greypaw's words. New leaders have to sleep near the stone, and as they sleep, they have special dreams. Photo, thank you for the 7-string streak, my dearie. Thank you so much. Oh well. Kawaii. He waited. The chill was not so intense here, but still, he found himself shivering. He had no idea how much time had passed. Oh, excuse me. With sunlight, the rock stopped glowing. The cavern was plunged into darkness once more. Paul looked up to the opening in the roof of the cavern. The moon had passed on out of sight. All that remained were tiny stars shimmering in blackness. Firepaw could just make out the pale shape of his leader, lying beside the moonstone. He wanted to call her name, but did not dare to break the silence. After more endless moments, she spoke to him. Firepaw? Are you still there? Her voice sounded remote and agitated. Yes, Bluestar. Firepaw heard Bluestar's paw steps approaching. Hurry, he hissed. He felt her fur brush past him. He must return to camp. Firepaw raced after her, astonished by the speed with which she rushed through the blackness. He followed her scent blindly, up and up the stone tunnel, until she led him safely back to the outside world. Tadglog was waiting at the opening beside Greypaw and Ravenpaw as Bluestar and Firepaw climbed out of the cave. His expression was cold and his fur was slightly ruffled, but he sat motionless and dignified. Tadglog? Bluestar greeted him, but did not mention the warrior cat's flight from the depths. Tadglog Roslow, what did you learn? No worries, welcome on in, lovely. Hello, hello. How you doing tonight, my dearie? Welcome on in. Pleasure to meet you, my dear. Hello, hello. We must return to camp immediately. Bluestar meowed briefly. Firepaw saw a look of desperation in his leader's eyes. Now the horror of his dream forced its way back into his memory. Thank you for the bit. I appreciate that. Not exactly. I mean, I don't really know how to, but it's a strange request, but welcome in regardless. Now the horror of his dream forced its way back into his memory. The fleeting cats, the great dark warriors, the ear-splitting wail of distress. Firepaw tried to ignore the cold fear that gripped his muscles and felt Bluestar as she and the others raced down the dark slope from Mother Mouth. Was his nightmare vision about to come true? I appreciate the bit, but I will not be doing that, unfortunately. I don't even know where to begin to do something like that, love. I'm sorry. I don't really do something like that here. Okay, chapter 16. They headed back the way they had come. The moon had disappeared behind the bank of clouds. It was dark, but at least the thunder path was quieter now. The only monster they heard was far off in the distance. The cats crossed the path together and pushed their way through the hedge on the other side. Firepaw could feel his muscles growing stiff. You're good, love, don't you worry. Firepaw could feel his muscles growing stiff with tiredness as they hurried on. Bluestar kept up a swift pace with her nose thrust forward and her tail high. Tadglog looped beside her. Firepaw followed a few paces behind with Greypaw, but Ravenpaw was flagging. Keep up, Ravenpaw. Tadglog growled over his shoulder. Ravenpaw flunged and bounded forward until he caught up with Firepaw and Greypaw. Are you okay? Firepaw asked. Yes. Ravenpaw panted, not meeting Firepaw's eyes. Just a bit tired. They scrambled down a deep ditch and up the other side. What did Firepaw say when he came out of the cave? Firepaw mewed, trying not to sound too curious. He wanted to check that we were still guarding the entrance, replied Greypaw. Why? Firepaw hesitated. Did you sense anything strange about him? He asked. Only that damp old cave, Greypaw meowed, looking surprised. He seemed a little on edge. He seemed a little edgy, ventured Ravenpaw. He wasn't the only one, Greypaw meowed, looking at the black cat. What do you mean? Asked Ravenpaw. Just that the fur on your neck stands up whenever you see him these days, whispered Greypaw. You nearly jumped out of your skin when he came out of the cave. He just surprised me. That's all. Ravenpaw protested. You have to admit it was a bit creepy by Mother Mouth, I suppose. agreed Greypaw. The cat slipped under a hedge into the cornfield that glowed silver in the moonlight and followed the ditch that ran around its edge. So what was it like inside Firepaw? Greypaw demanded. Did you see the moonstone? Yes, I did. Amazing. Firepaw felt his fur tingle at the memory. Greypaw shot him an admiring glance. So it's true. The rock really does shine underground. Firepaw didn't reply. He closed his eyes for a moment, savoring the image of the moonstone that dazzled his mind. Then pictures from his dream crowded into his head, and his eyes shot open. Bluestar was right. They had to get back to camp as quickly as they could. Ned, Tygo, and Bluestar had leapt through a fence, out of the cornfield. The apprentices followed, squeezing under the fence onto an earth track. It was the path that led past the two-legged nest and the dogs. Firepaw looked up and saw Bluestar and Tygo running tirelessly together, silhouetted against the skyline tinged with red. The sun would be rising soon. Look, he called to Greypaw and Ravenpaw. An unfamiliar cat had jumped out in front of the two warriors. The loner, hissed Greypaw. The three apprentices hurried forward. With me. Okay. Stranger was stout black and white Tom, shorter than the warriors but well muscled. This is Barley, Lizard explained to the apprentices as they caught up. He lives near the two-legged nest. Hi, meowed the cat. I haven't seen any of your clan for some moons. How are you, Bluestar? I'm well, thank you, replied Bluestar. And you, Barley? How's the prey been running since we last passed this way? Not so bad, replied Barley, with an amiable gleam in his eye. One good thing about Two Legs, you'll always find plenty of rats nearby. The black and white Tom went on. You seem in more of a hurry than usual. Is everything all right? Firepaw looked at Barley. A growl rumbled deep in his chest. Firepaw could sense the warrior suspicious of the loner's curiosity. I don't like to be away from my clan too long, Bluestar answered smoothly. As always, Bluestar, you are tied to your clan like a queen to her kits, observed Barley, not unkindly. What is it you want, Barley? Asked Tygo. Barley flashed him a reproachful look. I just wanted to warn you that there are 2 dogs here now. You'd be safer going back into the cornfield instead of past the yard. We know about the dogs. We saw them earlier. Firepaw began impatiently. We are grateful to you for the warning, interrupted Bluestar. Thank you, Barley. Until next time. Barley flicked his tail. Have a safe journey, he meowed as he bounded away up the track. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I lost my place for just a second. Ordered Bluestar. You pushed your way through the long grass between the paths and the fence that led back into the cornfield. The 3 apprentices followed, but Tygo hesitated. You trust the word of a loner? He meowed. Bluestar stopped and turned to face him. Would you rather face those dogs? They were tied up when we passed them earlier, Firepaw pointed out. They may be untied now. We're going this way, meowed Bluestar. Ducked under the fence into the field. Firepaw slipped after her, followed by Greypaw, Ravenpaw, and finally Darkclaw. By now, the sun had lifted its head above the horizon. Hedgerows sparkled with dew, promising another warm day. The cats padded along the edge of the ditch. Firepaw looked down into the deep gully, deep-sided and filled with nettles. Firepaw could smell the prey's scent. There was something familiar about the bitter odor, but it was one he hadn't smelled for a long time. An ear-splitting squeal made Firepaw whip around. Ravenpaw was struggling and clawing at the earth. Something had hold of his leg and was dragging him down into the ditch. Rats, spat Tarqual. Barley has sent us into a trap. Before they could react, all 5 cats were surrounded. Huge, brown rats swarmed out of the ditch, squeaking shrilly. Firepaw could see their shape from front teeth. Sorry, I can't read that. Firepaw could see their sharp front teeth glinting in the early dawn light. Suddenly, one leaped onto Firepaw's shoulder. Firepaw shot through his shoulder as the rat sank its teeth into his flesh. Another grasped his leg between its powerful jaws. Firepaw flung himself down and writhed madly, trying to shake free. He knew the rats were not as strong as he was, but there were so many of them. Yells, hisses, and spits told him that the others were also being attacked. Firepaw slashed fiercely with his claws, slicing out at a rat that held onto his leg, and let him go. Another one gripped his tail. Fast as lightning, powered by fear and rage, Firepaw fought and hacked at his attackers. Twisting his head around, he sank his teeth into the rat that had embedded itself into his shoulders. He felt the bones of its neck crunch in his mouth, body go limp. Fort fell away to the dirt track. Oh, 1 second, chat. Okay. Had a DM from someone. I'm gonna continue. Firepaw gasped with the pain as yet another rat leaped onto his back and sank its teeth in. Out the corner of his eye, he saw a flash of white fire. For a moment, he was confused. Then he felt that rat being dragged off him. Firepaw spun around to see Barley flinging the rodent into the ditch. Without hesitating, Barley glanced around and sprinted over to Blue Star. He was writhing on the path, covered in rats. In a flash, Barley had the spine of one between his teeth and was plucking it off her with practiced ease. He spat it onto the ground and grabbed another in his mouth as Blue Star thrashed beneath him. Firepaw rushed over to Greypaw, who was being attacked from both sides by 2 smaller rats. Firepaw lunged at the nearest one, giving it a bite that left it dead. Greypaw managed to turn and pin down the other with its claws, grabbed it with his teeth and flung it into the ditch as hard as he could. It did not come back. They're running away, Tarqual yelled. Sure enough, the remaining rats were fleeing down into the safety of the ditch. Greypaw could hear the scrambling of small paws disappearing into the nettles. Could not read that. The bites in his shoulder and hind leg stung sharply. He looked carefully at his fur, wet and matted with blood, its sharp tang mingling with the stench of the rats. Firepaw looked around for Ravenpaw. Ravenpaw was standing at the edge of the nettles, mewing encouragement as Ravenpaw pulled himself out of the ditch, muddy and stung. The young rat was still hanging onto his tail. Firepaw bounded over and finished it off quickly, while Greypaw helped to pull Ravenpaw over the top of the ditch. Now, Firepaw looked for Blue Star. He saw Barley first, standing at the top of the ditch, scanning the dust for more rats. Blue Star was lying on the path nearby. Alarmed, Firepaw dashed to his leader's side. The thick gray fur at the back of his Or reading that. The thick gray fur at the back of her neck was drenched with blood. Blue Star? He meowed. Blue Star did not reply. The furious mule made Firepaw look up. Snuggle leaped on top of Barley and pinned him to the ground. You sent us into a trap, he snarled. I didn't know the rats were here. Fat Barley, his paws scrambling in the dust as he struggled to stand up. Why did you send us this way? Hissed Tarkle. Dogs. Dogs were tied when we passed them earlier. The two-leg unties them at night. They guard his nest. Barley panted, wheezing under the weight of Tarkle's massive paws. Tarkle, Blue Star is injured, Firepaw burst out. Tarkle released Barley at once. Barley got up and shook the dust from his coat. Great War bounded over to Blue Star's side to stiff her wounds. Is there anything we can do? Firepaw asked. He is in the hands of StarClan now. Dark Tarkle solemnly, stepping back. Firepaw opened his eyes, wide with shock. Did Tarkle mean that Blue Star was dead? His fur prickled as he looked down at his leader. Is this what the spirits of the Moonstone had warned her about? Firepaw and Ravenpaw had joined them and stood beside their leader. Horror struck. Barley hung back, craning his neck to see what was happening. Blue Star's eyes were open but glazed, and her gray body lay motionless. She didn't even appear to be breathing. She dead? Whispered Ravenpaw. I don't know. We must wait and see, replied Tarkle. The five cats waited in silence as the sun began to climb into the sky. Firepaw found himself wordlessly begging StarClan to protect his leader, send her back to them. Then Blue Star stirred. The end of her tail twitched and she lifted her head. Blue Star? A Firepaw, his voice trembling. All right, Blue Star rasped. I am still here. I have lost a life. It was my 9th, but it wasn't my 9th. Joy flooded Firepaw. He looked at Tarkle, expecting to see relief on his face, but the dark warrior was expressionless. He was. Right, Tarkle meowed in a commanding tone. Ravenpaw, fetch cobwebs or Blue Star's wounds. Graypaw, find marigold or horsetail. The apprentices dashed away. Barley, I think you should leave us now. Firepaw looked over to the loner who had fought so bravely to help them. He wanted to thank him, but under Tarkle's fierce gaze, he didn't dare. Instead of speaking, Firepaw gave Barley a tiny nod. Barley seemed to understand, for he nodded in return and left without another word. Blue Star was still lying on the dirt track. Is everyone all right? She asked hoarsely. Tarkle nodded. Ravenpaw came charging back, his left forepaw wrapped in the thick, wet water cobwebs. Here, he meowed. Did I put them on her wounds? Firepaw asked Tarkle. Yellowfang showed me how. Very well, agreed Tarkle. He walked away and scanned the ditch again, his ears pricked for more rats. Firepaw peeled a clump of cobwebs from Ravenpaw's paw and began to press them firmly onto Blue Star's wounds. She winced under his touch. If it had not been for Tarkle, those rats would have eaten me alive. She murmured, her voice tight with pain. It wasn't Tarkle who saved you. It was Barley. Firepaw whispered as he took some more cobwebs from Ravenpaw. Barley? Blue Star sounded surprised. Is he here? Tarkle sent him away. Firepaw answered quietly. He thinks Barley sent us into a trap. And what do you think? Blue Star rasped. Firepaw didn't look up, but concentrated on pressing the last bit of cobweb into place. Barley is a loner. What would he gain by sending us into a trap only to rescue us from it? He meowed eventually. His sled laid down on her head. laid down her head and closed her eyes again. Firepaw returned with some horsetail. Firepaw chewed the leaves and spat the juice onto Bluestar's wounds. He knew it would help stop infection, but he still wished Spotted Leaf were with him. With her knowledge of and confidence in healing, we should rest here while Bluestar recovers, announced Firepaw, padding up. No, Star insisted. We must return to camp. Narrowing her eyes in pain, she struggled to her paws. Let's keep going. The ThunderClan leader limped along the edge of the field. Firepaw walked beside her, face dark with unknowable thoughts. The apprentices exchanged anxious glances, and then followed. It is a long time since I saw you lose a life, Bluestar. Firepaw overheard Targal's whispered words. How many have you lost? Firepaw couldn't help feeling surprised at Targal's open curiosity. That was my fifth, replied Bluestar quietly. Firepaw strained his ears, but Targal did not reply. Padded on, lost in thought. Oh, 1 second, guys. Good news, I fixed Blair. Bad news, I can't hear well now. Oh no. At least you fixed it. That's the good news. At least you fixed it. But now we just gotta adjust the volumes and everything. Now we just have to figure out the volumes. Good luck with that, Mega. I wish you the best of luck. Actually, speaking of which, since we are in nighttime mode, let's see if this works. Nope. Haha, got it. Hehehe. I'm gonna put my PJs on because I feel like putting my PJs on. PJ time, yatta. Okay. Alright, chapter 17 now. Hop into it. Sunlight came and went as the cats made their way through the WindClan's old hunting grounds. Their heavy sounds showed that they were still sore after the rat fight. Firepaw felt scratched and bitten all over. You could see Greypaw was limping, occasionally hopping on 3 legs to protect his injured back leg. But it was Bluestar who worried him most. Her pace was even slower now, but she refused to stop and rest. The grim look on her face, clouded by pain, told Firepaw how much she wanted to reach the ThunderClan camp. Excuse me. Don't worry about ShadowClan warriors, she meowed, her gritted teeth, as Tigerclaw paused to sniff the air. You won't find any here today. How could she be so sure? Firepaw wondered. They picked their way carefully down the steep, rocky hillside that led to 4 trees and joined a familiar trail that led home. It was late afternoon, and Firepaw began to think longingly of his nest, a plump helping of fresh kill. I could smell the stench of ShadowClan, Firepaw muttered to Firepaw as they trekked through the ThunderClan's hunting grounds. Perhaps the breeze has carried it down from WindClan's territory. Perhaps the breeze has carried it down from WindClan's territory, Firepaw suggested. could smell it too, and his whiskers were trembling. Suddenly, Ravenpaw stopped. "Can you hear that?" He meowed in a hushed voice. Firepaw strained his ears. At first, he heard only the familiar sounds of the forest, leaves rustling, a pigeon calling, and his blood ran cold. In the distance, he could hear battle-hungry ghouls and a shrill squeal of terrified kids. Oh, write this part. Quick, please start hold. Hold. It is as ShadowClan warned me. Our camp is being attacked. He tried to leap forward, stumbled. He pushed himself up and limped onward. Fireclaw and Firepaw pelted forward side by side. Greypaw and Ravenpaw followed. Their tail fur bristled to twice its usual size. Firepaw forgot his soreness as he charged toward the camp. His only concern was to protect the clan. Oh, Scarlet, welcome on in. Thank you for collecting your daily paw, my dearie. Thank you so much. And that is my cat. Hello, Maisie. Can I help you with something? 1 second, guys. Let me see what she wants. Give me 1 second, my please. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to close my door because my cat Maisie loves to open my door when I'm streaming, and I'm like, I can't leave the door open for you, sweetheart. You either need to come into my room and sit with me, or you just need to sit outside and wait for me to open my door. I saw you and I'm like, ooh, reading time. This is much better than anything right now. I'm happy at least I can give you some nice little support tonight, Scarlet. Well, welcome on in, my dearie. Hope you are able to sit down, get comfortable, and enjoy the bedtime stories tonight. Welcome on in, lovely. Firepaw forgot his soreness as he charged toward the camp. His only concern was to protect the clan. Sounds of battle grew louder and louder as he neared the camp entrance, and the stench of ShadowClan filled his nostrils. He was right behind Tedclaw as the cats dashed through the tunnel and into the clearing. They were met by a frenzy of fighting. ThunderClan cats battling furiously with ShadowClan warriors. The kids were out of sight, and Firepaw hoped they were safely hidden in the nursery. He guessed the weakest elders would be sheltering inside the hollow trunk of their fallen tree. Every corner of the camp seemed alive with warriors. Firepaw could see Phosphor and Golden Flower clawing and biting at a huge grey tom. Even the young tabby queen, brittle face, was fighting. She was very close to kitting. Darkstripe was locked in a fierce tussle with a black warrior. 3 of the elders, Small Ear, Patch Pelt, and One Eye, were nipping bravely at a tortoiseshell who fought with twice their speed and ferocity. What flop was that noise? Ay. Returning cats hurled themselves into the battle. Firepaw caught hold of Tabby Warrior Queen, much larger than him, and sank his teeth deep into her leg. She yelled with pain and turned on him. lashing out with sharp claws and lunging at his neck with her teeth bared. He twisted and ducked to avoid her bite. He couldn't match his speed, and he managed to grasp her from behind and pull her down onto the dirt. With his strong hind legs, he clawed at her back till she squealed and struggled away from him, running headlong into the thick undergrowth that surrounded the camp. Firepaw glanced around to see that Bluestar had arrived. Despite her injury, she was fighting another tabby. Firepaw had never seen her fight before, but even wounded, she was a powerful opponent. Her victim struggled to escape, but she held him tightly and clawed him so fiercely that Firepaw knew he would bear the scars of this fight for many moons. And he saw a white ShadowClan cat with jet black paws, dragging a ThunderClan elder away from the nursery. Firepaw remembered those unusual dark paws from the gathering. Blackfoot. ShadowClan deputy made quick work of killing the elder who had been guarding the kids, and began to reach into the bramble nest with one massive paw. The kids were squealing and mewing, undefended now as their mothers wrestled with other ShadowClan warriors in the clearing. Firepaw prepared to spring toward the nursery, but a claw sliced painfully down his side, and he whipped around to see a scrawny tortoiseshell leap on top of him. As he slammed into the ground, he tried to call out the other ThunderClan cats that the kids were in danger. Fighting with all his strength to escape the tortoiseshell's grip, he wrenched his head around so he could see the bramble nest. Blackfoot had scooped 2 kids from their bedding already and was reaching in for a third. Firepaw saw no more as the tortoiseshell racked his belly with his hind legs. Firepaw scrambled onto his feet and crouched low, as if in defeat. The trick had worked before, and it worked now. As the tortoiseshell grew up triumphantly and began to sink her teeth into Firepaw's neck, Firepaw sprang upward as hard as he could and flung the warrior away. He spun around and was on the wounded warrior in an instant. This time he showed no mercy, plunging his teeth deep into the cat's shoulder. The bite sent the she-cat howling into the undergrowth. Firepaw jumped up, dashed over to the nursery, and thrust his head through the nursery entrance. Blackfoot was nowhere to be seen. Inside the nest, crouching over the terrified kids, was Yellowfang. Her gray fur was spattered with blood, and one of her eyes was painfully swollen. She looked up at Firepaw with a ferocious hiss, and realizing it was him, yelled, "They're okay. I'll protect them." Firepaw looked at her as she calmed the helpless kids, and Broken Star's dire warning about the ShadowClan rogue passed through his mind. He didn't have time to think about that now. He would have to trust Yellowfang. He nodded quickly and ducked back out of the brambles. There were only now a few ShadowClan cats left in the camp. Ravenpaw and Greypaw were fighting side by side, lashing out the Black Tom until he fled, huddling into the bushes. Whitestorm and Darkstripe now chased the last 2 intruders out of the camp, sending them off with a few extra scratches and bites. Firepaw sat down exhausted and stared around the camp. It was devastated. Blood splattered the clearing, and tufts of fur drifted in the dust. The surrounding wall of undergrowth was ripped open where the invaders had crashed through. One by one, the ThunderClan cats gathered beneath the high rock. Greypaw came to sit by him, his hides heaving and blood trickling from the torn ear. Ravenpaw flopped down and began to lick a wound on his tail. The queen ran to the nursery to check on their kids. Firepaw found himself waiting tensely for their return, his view blocked by the other cats. He relaxed when he heard squeals and purrs of joy coming from the bramble nest. Crossfur wove her way back through the crowd, followed by Yellowfang. The White Queen stepped forward and addressed them. "Our kids are all safe, thanks to Yellowfang. A ShadowClan warrior killed Brave Rosetail and was trying to steal them from their nest. Yellowfang fought them off." It was no ordinary ShadowClan either, Firepaw put in. He was determined to let the clan know how much they owed Yellowfang. I saw him. It was Blackfoot. Sorry, okay, we're good. Sorry about that. I saw him. It was Blackfoot. ShadowClan deputy. Meow. Meow. Meow, Brittleface. Went fought so bitterly to protect the unborn kids in her swollen belly. There was a stir on the edge of the group as Bluestar limped forward and made her way over to the apprentices. The grave expression on her face was enough to tell Firepaw that something was wrong. Spotted leaf is with Lionheart, she murmured. He was injured in the battle. It looks bad. She turned her head toward a shadow on the far side of High Rock where the warrior lay, a motionless bundle of dusty golden fur. A high-pitched wail rose from Greypaw's throat, and he raced over to Lionheart. Spotleaf, who had been leaning over the ThunderClan deputy, stepped back to let the young apprentice share tongues for the last time with his mentor. As Greypaw howl of grief echoed around the clearing, Firepaw's fur tingled and his blood ran cold. It was the cry he had heard in his dream. For a moment his head swam, and he gave himself a shake. He had to keep calm, for Greypaw's sake. Firepaw looked at Bluestar, who nodded, and he padded over to join his friend by High Rock. He stopped for a moment, beside Spotleaf. He looked exhausted and dull-eyed with grief. Can't help Lionheart now, she meowed quietly to him. He's on his way to join StarClan. She pressed her body against Firepaw's side, and he felt comforted by the touch of her warm fur. The other cats looked on in silence, as the sun slowly set behind the trees. Finally, Greypaw sat up and cried out, "It's gone." He lay down beside Lionheart's body and rested his head on his front paws. The rest of the clan walked silently forward to carry out their own grieving rituals for their beloved deputy. Firepaw joined them. He licked Lionheart's neck and murmured, "Thank you for your wisdom. You taught me so much." Then he sat down beside Greypaw and began gently to groom his friend's ears. Star waited until the other cats had left before paddling quietly up. Greypaw didn't even seem to notice this leader's presence. Firepaw looked away as Bluestar spoke her last words to her old friend. "Oh, what am I going to do without you, Lionheart?" she whispered. She limped back to her den and crouched down outside, staring grief-stricken into the distance. She didn't even try to clean her body. "Hi, Rin. Welcome on in, lovely. Hi. Welcome. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. I appreciate that. Give me 1 second. Thank you for the hydrate, my dearie. Welcome on in, though, Rin. Welcome. How you doing tonight?" I was getting a little bit thirsty, truthfully, so... I'm busy, want to catch up with soon. Understandable, yeah, no, I've been all over the place, truthfully. But I haven't forgotten. I've been wanting to catch up with you for a little bit, but I've been all over the place, truthfully, with stuff, so... Same, fam. I feel that. But it's good to see you, Ren, my dearie. I hope you're able to enjoy some of the bedtime stories I'm doing here for tonight. If you need to look for something to wind yourself down for the night, doing some bedtime stories here as I read one of my favorite books. I guess I say. When I can pop in me. Excuse me. Okay. She didn't even try to lick her clean her body, or her bloody, matted fur. It was the first time Firepaw had seen her look utterly defeated, and he felt a chill run through him. He sat with Greypaw and Lionheart until the moon rose high. Ravenpaw joined him, and together they kept company with their grieving friend. Firepaw strode over and briefly shared tongues with Lionheart. Firepaw waited to hear what words he would share with his warrior friend, but Direclaw remained silent as he licked the matted fur. To Firepaw's confusion, the dark tabby's eyes seemed to be fixed on Ravenpaw rather than the fallen deputy. Spotty padded lightly around the camp, tending to wounds and battered nerves. Firepaw watched her approach. Blue started twice, but each time the leader sent her away to see to the others. Only when Spotleaf had attended to the wounds of all the other cats did Blue Star allow her to treat her bites and scratches. When she had finished, Spotleaf turned and walked back to her den. Blue Star stood and slowly hauled herself up onto High Rock. The clan cats seemed to have been waiting for her. When she had settled herself in her usual spot, they began to gather in the clearing below, unusually silent and somber-faced. Firepaw and Ravenpaw got stiffy to their paws and joined them, leaving Greypaw behind with Lionheart's body. The Grey Apprentice was still lying with his nose resting against Lionheart's cooling golden pelt. Firepaw guessed Blue Star would excuse Greypaw from the clan meeting this time. Nearly moon high, now Great Blue Star, as Firepaw slipped into place next to Ravenpaw. And it is once more my duty, much too soon, to name ThunderClan's new deputy. Her voice was tired and cracked with sadness. Firepaw looked from the warrior to warrior. They were all looking expectantly at Tagclaw. Even Whitestorm had turned to watch the dark tabby, and the bold expression on his face, and the way his whiskers twitched in anticipation. Tagclaw seemed to agree with them. The Tsar took a deep breath and continued. I say these words before the body of Lionheart, so that his spirit may hear and approve my choice. He hesitated. I have not forgotten how one cat can avenge the death of Redtail and brought his body back to us. ThunderClan needs his fearless loyalty even more now. Star paused again and meowed the name loud and clear. Fireclaw will be the new deputy of ThunderClan. There was a yell of approval, and the loudest voices belonging to the dark-striped long-tail. Whitestorm sat calmly, his eyes closed, his tail wrapped neatly around him. He was nodding slowly, approvingly. Fireclaw lifted his chin proudly, his eyes half closed as he listened to the clan. Then he stalked through the crowd, accepting tributes with the smallest notes, and leaped up onto the high rock beside Blue Star. ThunderClan, he yelled. I am honored to accept the possession of clan deputy. What on earth? One second, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about that. I had to deal with my cat. Also, Dex Portis, thank you for the follow. Welcome to streams, my dear. Hello, hello. Welcome on in. Pleasure to meet you, my dearie. And before we do continue, I am being summoned downstairs or something, so we will be right back momentarily. Right back, chat. Enjoy the music. sorry for the long wait there, folks. I also had to take care of the dog downstairs. Let's continue on, shall we? Okay, so we're one page away from 18. Okay, so the next two chapters are relatively very short, actually. So let's go ahead and wrap this up tonight. Let's do it. Here we go. Michael lifted his chin proudly, his eyes half closed as he listened to the clan. And they stalked through the crowd, accepting tribute with the smallest of nods, and leaped up onto the high rock beside Blue Star. ThunderClan, he yelled. I am honored to accept the position of clan deputy. I never expected to gain such high rank, but by the spirit of Lionheart, I vow to serve you as best I can. He gravely dipped his head, exiting the crowd with his wide yellow eyes, and jumped down from High Rock. Firepaw heard Ravenpaw murmur, "Oh no," under his breath beside him. He turned and looked curiously at his friend. Ravenpaw's head was hanging low. Should have never chosen him, he murmured. Murmured. I'm sorry, I can't read that. Murmured. Are you talking about Tyreclaw? Firepaw whispered. He's wanted to be deputy ever since he took care of Redtail. Ravenpaw mewed. He stopped abruptly. Care of Redtail? Firepaw echoed. His mind suddenly raced with questions. What did Ravenpaw know? At the gathering, had his account of the battle with RiverClan been true? Was Tyreclaw responsible for Redtail's death? Dun dun dun. Shannon, welcome on in. Hello, hello. Feels like it's been a minute since I last saw you. Welcome in, Shannon. Hello, hello, my dearie. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well tonight. I'm gonna take a sip of my water real quick. I just finished taking a shower. Let's go. The nighttime showers are always so nice. Yippee! Alright, on to chapter 18. Are you telling Firepaw how I protected Redtail? Firepaw felt a cold chill ruffle the fur on the back of his neck. Ravenpaw whipped around, eyes wide with fear. Firepaw loomed over them, his lips drawn back in a menacing snarl. Firepaw jumped and faced the new deputy. He was just saying he wished you had been here to take care of Lionheart as well. That's all. He meowed, thinking quickly. Firepaw looked from one to the other, then stalked away in silence. Ravenpaw's green eyes clouded with terror, and he started to tremble uncontrollably. Ravenpaw? Firepaw meowed in alarm, but Ravenpaw didn't even look up at him. With his head held low, he slunk back to Greypaw and crouched next to him, pressing his skinny black body next to Greypaw's thick fur as if he was suddenly cold. Firepaw looked helplessly at his two friends as they huddled beside Lionheart's body, not knowing what else to do. Hello, Orange Cat. Welcome on in, lovely. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing tonight? Welcome, welcome on in. Not knowing what else to do, he patted over and settled himself beside him, ready to sit out the night. As the moon passed overhead. I'm doing good. What about you? I'm doing fantastic tonight. I'm a little tired, but we are here. I would say we are gaming, but we are reading and we are settling down for the night. So I'm doing really good aside from just being a little bit tired. All around good, truthfully. Thank you for asking, my love. Thank you. As the moon passed overhead, the other cats came to join their vigil. Blue Star arrived last. Once the camp was calm and quiet, she said nothing, but sat a little way off, gazing at her dead deputy with expressions of such unbearable grief that Firepaw had to look away. Dawn, the group of elders came to take Lionheart's body away to the burial place. Greypaw followed to help dig. Greypaw followed who helped dig the hole where the great warrior would rest. Neko, 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 anya. I am the neko, nya. Here we go. Firepaw yawned and stretched. He felt chilled to the bone. Leafball was nearly here now, and the woods were clouded with mist. But above the leaves, Firepaw saw a rosy morning sky. He watched Greypaw disappear into the dew-soaked undergrowth with the elders. Ravenpaw jumped to his paws and hurried back to the apprentice's den. Firepaw followed him slowly. By the time he arrived, the black cat was curled up with his nose tucked under his tail, as if asleep. Firepaw was too exhausted to speak. He circled around on his mossy bed, then settled down for a long sleep. Ma origin iro no neko? Yeah. Oh. Hi. Wake up. Firepaw heard Dustpaw's voice calling through the den entrance. He opened his eyes. Ravenpaw was already awake. Sitting bolt upright with his ears pricked. Greypaw was staring beside him. Firepaw was surprised to see the familiar gray shape. He hadn't heard him come back after burying Lionheart. But his thoughts called another meeting. Dustpaw hissed at them and ducked out of the ferns. The three apprentices crawled out of the warm den. The sun was already past its height and the air felt cooler than before. Firepaw shivered and his belly growled. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let me push the right buttons. Oh, okay, here we go. Hey, thank you, my love. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, and Orange Cat, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to Strays. Thank you so much. I gotta figure out my hotkeys. I appreciate that, my dear. Thank you so much. Also, chat, we're gonna be having about 5 minutes till the ads, everybody. So just want to give you all a heads up. Once the ads do roll through, I'll be sure to stop my reading just so we can wait for the ads to roll through, and then we'll continue on reading. Nitzels, I lost my place again. I do that so easily. Goodness gracious me. Okay, here we go. We have about 3 more minutes till the ads. See how far we can get here. The apprentices crawled out of the warm den. The sun was already past its height and the air felt cooler than before. Firepaw shivered and his belly growled. He couldn't remember the last time he had eaten. He wondered briefly if he would have a chance to hunt today. Firepaw, Greypaw, and Riverpaw hurried to join the crowd. The crowd gathered below the high rock. Firepaw was speaking from his position beside Blue Star. During the battle, our leader lost another life. English. Now that she has only 4 of her 9 lives left, I'm going to appoint a bodyguard to stay at her side constantly. No cat will be allowed to approach her unless the guards are present. Amber's eyes flickered to Ravenpaw and then back to the rest of the crowd. Darkstripe and Longtail. He continued, turning his gaze on the warriors. You will act as Blue Star's guards. Oh, and just like that, the ads are playing now, folks. I'll go ahead and just wait till the 3-minute ads are over. In the meantime, I'm gonna go check on my cat real quick, actually speaking of which, just make sure he's okay. Make sure. Give me 1 second, chat. Okay. Don't worry, I'm still here. I just turned off my model for just a second just so I can check on my cat real quick. I just woke up from my nap and now I'm already feeling EP again. Let's go. That is what I do best around here. Or at least I try to. It has been a long week for a lot of people here, so that is what I do best. I am here to make sure that everyone is able to have a proper sleep tonight before they head back into work on the next day. Speaking of which, let me see. We don't really have much longer for stream. Or much longer for reading, so I'm gonna poke around and see who's live right now. Okay, I have a few ideas we can go, I feel like. My goodness, he's still alive? Goodness gracious. He could be done by now. Orange cat, Orange, thank you so much for hydrating. Give me 1 second, my dearie. I was getting a tad thirsty with that one, truthfully, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. I know, my little freaks out every single time I adjust myself in my chair. It's always so crazy. Okay. Welcome back from the ads, everybody. The ads were to your liking tonight. Go and continue on, shall we? Darkstripe and Longtail nodded importantly and sat taller. The star now spoke. Her voice sounded gentle and calming after her deputy's commanding yell. Thank you, Firepaw, for your loyalty. The clan must understand that I am still here for them. I'm not gonna lie, Orange. I tend to do that. I tend to do that sometimes with one of my mods, cheerfully, when he streams. Or at least I used to do that, and it was always kind of funny. I know a few streamers who don't have a cooldown on their hydrates, and so I'm like, I wonder how many times I can hit hydrate. That'd be a little cheeky. I learned my lesson though from that one, so I'm like, I don't think I want to drown today. The clan must understand that I am still here for them. No cat should hesitate to approach me. I'm happy to speak to anyone with or without my bodyguards. Her eyes darted briefly to Tygal's direction. As the warrior code says, the safety of the clan is more important than the security of any single member. Is it a cat thing? Probably so. If so, it's a cheeky thing that we have to do. We're cheeky little things after all. She paused, and her sky blue gaze rested briefly on Firepaw. And now, I wish to invite Yellowfang to join ThunderClan. Yells of surprise rose from some of the wares. Bluestar looked at Frostfur, who nodded her agreement. The other queens looked on silently. Bluestar continued. Her actions last night proved that she is brave and loyal. If she wishes it, we could welcome her as a full member of this clan. There we go. From her place at the edge of the crowd, Yellowfang looked up at the clan leader and murmured, "I am honored, Bluestar, and I accept your offer." "Good," yelled Bluestar, her voice firm as if the matter was now closed. Firepaw purred with delight and nudged Greypaw. He was surprised to realize just how much Bluestar's public show of trust in Yellowfang meant to him. Bluestar began to speak again. "Last night we successfully defended ourselves against ShadowClan, but they are still a great threat. The repair work we began this morning will continue. Our boundaries will be patrolled constantly. We must not assume that the war is over." Fireclaw stood up, his tail held high, and glared down at the assembled cats. ShadowClan attacked while we were away from the camp, he growled. They chose their moment well. How did they know that the camp was so poorly defended? Do they have eyes inside our camp? Firepaw froze in horror as Tygal fixed his cold stare on Ravenpaw. Some of the cats followed their new deputy's gaze and stared in puzzlement at the black apprentice. Ravenpaw looked at the ground and shifted his paws nervously. Tygal went on. "We still have a while before sunset. We must concentrate on rebuilding our camp. Meanwhile, if you suspect anything or anyone, tell me. Be assured, anything you say will be confidence. There we go." He nodded to dismiss the clan, then turned and began murmuring to Bluestar. The cats separated and began to move around the camp, assessing the damage and forming work groups. "Ravenpaw," Firepaw called, still shocked by Tygal's dark hint that his own apprentice had betrayed the clan. But Ravenpaw had already bounded away. Firepaw could see him, offering to help Half-Tail and Whitestorm before rushing off to collect twigs so they could patch the holes in the boundary wall. Ravenclaw clearly didn't want to talk. Let's go and help," suggested Greypaw. His voice was flat and exhausted, and his eyes were dull. "You go. I'll be there in a moment," Paw answered. First, I want to check on Yellowfang, see if she's okay after her fight with Blackfoot." He looked for Yellowfang in her nest by the fallen tree. She was stretched out in the shadows, her eyes thoughtful. "Firepaw," she purred when she saw him. "I'm glad you have come. I wanted to check that you were all right," Firepaw meowed. "I'll have to stay longer than an old sensei," meowed Yellowfang with a flash of her old spirit. "I suppose so," Firepaw confessed. "How are you feeling?" "This old leg injury is playing up again, but I'll be fine," Yellowfang told him. "How did you manage to fight Blackfoot off?" Firepaw asked, unable to keep the admiration out of his voice. Blackfoot's strong, but he's not a clever fighter. Fighting you was more of a challenge." Firepaw looked for a flicker of humor in the old cat's eyes, but there was none. Continue. I've known him since he was a kid. He hasn't changed. A bully, but no brains. I was opening YouTube on my TV to put one of those 24-hour rain sound videos. It said I couldn't connect. I pressed try again. The whole screen went white and I got a flashbang. Oh no. That's happened to me a couple times on my own YouTube when I put like rain sounds on for like uploading my videos and everything, and I'm like, why is it not connecting? And just goes burr. I'm like, oh, flashbang go burr. Like, oh no. Like, that's not a flash I like seeing. I don't like seeing white. I like seeing something else in that flash. Thank you very much. Oh, excuse me. Firepaw sat down beside her. I'm not surprised Blue Star asked you to join the clan, he purred. You certainly showed your loyalty last night. Elfing twitched her tail. Perhaps a truly loyal cat would have fought at the side of the clan that raised her. But then I'd be fighting for my two legs, Firepaw pointed out. The Elfing shot him an admiring glance. Well said, youngster. But then, you have always been a thinker. Sorrow pierced Firepaw's heart as he remembered these were Lionheart's words too. Do you miss ShadowClan? He asked Yellowfang. Yellowfang blinked slowly. I miss the old ShadowClan. He meowed at last. The way it used to be. Till Broken Star became later, Firepaw was curious. Yes, Yellowfang admitted softly. He changed the clan. She gave a wheezy laugh. He always knew how to give a good speech. He could make you believe a mouse was a rabbit if he set his mind to it. Perhaps that is why I was so blind to his faults. The old cheek had stared into the distance, lost in memories. Bet you can't guess who the new ShadowClan medicine cat is. It's no Evil Larry. Evil Larry. Firepaw meowed, suddenly remembering what he had learned at the gathering. Felt like moons ago now. His words seemed to shake Yellowfang back into present. That running nose? He meowed. Yep. Yellowfang shook her head. But he can't even cure his own cold. Greypaw said. They purred together for a moment, amused. Firepaw got to his paws. I'll leave you to rest now. Call me if you need anything today. Yellowfang lifted her head. Where you go, Firepaw? I hear you were in a rat fight. They draw blood. Okay, but the leaf has treated my wounds with marigold. Sometimes marigold is not strong enough for rat bites. Go find a patch of wild garlic to roll in. I think there's some not far from the camp entrance. I will draw out any poisons the rat may have left. Well, welcome on in, Evil Larry. It's a pleasure to meet you, my dear. Hello, hello. How you doing tonight? Quite an interesting sentence to say. I will draw out any poisons the rats may have left. Although, she added dryly, your den mates might not thank me for my advice. Well, I do. Thanks, Yellowfang. Firepaw purred. Go carefully, young one. Yellowfang held his gaze for a moment. Then let her chin rest on her front paws and closed her eyes. Firepaw slipped under the branches around Yellowfang's nest and headed for the gorse tunnel in search of the wild garlic. The sun was setting now, and he could hear the queens settling their kits for the night. "Where do you think you're going?" growled a voice from the shadows. It was Darkstripe. Yellowfang told me to go out and... "You don't take orders from that rogue," hissed the warrior. "Go and help with the repairs. No cats leave the camp tonight." He lashed his tail from side to side. "Yes, Darkstripe." Firepaw mewed, dipping his head submissively. He turned and murdered Darkstripe under his breath, and headed toward the camp boundary, where you could see Greypaw and Ravenpaw bossily patching a large hole in the greenery. Evil Larry, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to Strays, my dearie. Thank you so much. Hope you're doing well tonight, my dearie. Pleasure to meet you. Annyeong. How's Yellowfang? Asked Greypaw as Firepaw trotted up. He's fine. Said a wild garlic would be good for my rat bites. I was on my way to find some, but Darkstripe ordered me to stay in camp, Firepaw told him. Wild garlic? Now Greypaw. I wouldn't mind trying that. My leg still stings. Green! Hello, my love! Welcome! Thank you for the care package. Let me get that going for you real quick. How you doing tonight, love? It's good to see you. Hello. 1 second. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Did all my stretches, did my posture check, and I got my hydrate in. Thank you. Hi. I'm okay. How are you? I'm okay too. I'm a little tired today from yesterday's adventures, but I am here. We are here. I am happy to read, and I'm happy to be kind of tired. But I'm doing good, honestly. I'm also kind of like realizing school is coming up here pretty soon, so I'm super excited about that actually. Now I'm realizing it, I'm like, oh, school. That's good. Yeah. Good to see you, Green. It feels like it's been a hot minute since I last seen you. Starts officially next week on the 16th, which will be a Tuesday. That's when my classes officially do start. I'll be going for about 3 days. All I see is green. The green Zimmerel. The green rabbit. Orange told me to... Evil Larry, I'm not gonna lie, you do sound like one of my other regulars in chat here. Perhaps so. I'm usually lurking during streams due to being at work, streaming myself or somewhere else. Understandable. Yeah. You're everywhere, my dear. You are everywhere. But yeah, no, Evil Larry, you do sound like one of my regulars around here who says some shenanigans like that, truthfully. Mine starts on the 17th. Oh, let's go! Heck yeah, Orange Cat, let's go! It will always be in the shadows. We always love it. Oh, also El Polo, welcome on in. Hello. Pio, Anya. Welcome on in, El Polo. Welcome on. Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you, my dear. Hope you're doing well tonight. Nuh-uh. Yeah, huh? I'm happy you're always in the shadows, the green. I'm always happy that I have the ninja. The green is Emerald somewhere. Actually lurking for me while I work as to not interrupt the story. No worries. I appreciate you. Linda. Aww. continue on, shall we? See. Yeah, we have a few pages left till we hit chapter 19. And then once we're done with chapter 19, we will be done for the night, and then we can continue on next week. Let me go ahead and continue here. Oh my goodness. I hope you're doing well tonight, El Polo. Good to meet you, my dearie. Nanya. I could sneak out and get some Firepaw offered. My EPUB? Alright, no worries, Orange Cat. It was wonderful to have you around here, my dearie. I hope you have a good eve tonight, my dearie. Meow meow. Firepaw offered. He had resented Darkstripe's offhand treatment and welcomed the chance to outwit him. No one would notice if I slipped out of this hole here. I take a couple over. Yeah. Sorry, maybe EP? No, that is perfectly fine, my dearie. That is what I do. That is what we are doing tonight. I'm making sure that I can put people to sleep tonight just so they can be good for tomorrow. Good night. Have a good night, Orange Cat. Sleep well, my dearie. No one would notice if I slipped out of this hole here. It only take a couple of rabbit hops. Ravenpaw frowned, but Greypaw nodded. For the hydrate, my dearie, appreciate them. No. I took two extra steps for you, so there we go. Ravenpaw frowned, but Greypaw nodded. We'll cover for you, he whispered. Firepaw nuzzled him gratefully and jumped out through the tear in the boundary wall. Once outside the camp, he began to make his way to the wild garlic patch, alerting him easily to his isolation. The moon was rising in the violet sky as the sun sank below the horizon. A cold breeze ruffled Firepaw's fur. Suddenly, he caught a cat's scent carried toward him on the wind. He sniffed cautiously. ShadowClan? No, just ThunderClan and 2 other cats. He sniffed the air again. Darkstripe and Longtail. What were they doing here? Curious, Firepaw dropped. Curious. Give me 1 second, chat. I gotta go see what my cat's crying about. 1 second there, darlings. 1 second, 1 second. my dears, I'm back. Sorry for the long wait there. I now have a second cat with me now. I finally managed to convince Maisie to hop in here with me, and she is now sleeping under my desk. Or at least on my desk shelf. So hopefully she will be there for the remaining of the stream. Hopefully, question mark. Wish me luck. Let's continue on, shall we? Good girl, Meme. Good girl. Oh, thank you for cute. Thank you, Meme. See? There you go, Meme. Okay. Darkstripe and Longtail. What were they doing here? Curious, Firepaw dropped into a stalking position. Prowled through the undergrowth, paw by paw, keeping downwind so that he was not detected. The warriors were standing in the shadow of a clump of ferns, their heads very close together. Soon, Firepaw was near enough to hear them speak. RiverClan knows. My apprentice has shown little promise from the start, but I never expected him to turn traitor, growled Tireclaw. Firepaw's eyes widened and his fur prickled with shock. It sounded like Tireclaw intended to do more than just hint that Ravenpaw had betrayed the clan. How long did you say Ravenpaw was missing on the journey to Mothermouth? Asked Starstripe. Long enough to have traveled to ShadowClan's camp and back, came the deputy's menacing answer. Fur on Firepaw's tail bristled angrily. That's impossible, he thought. He was with us the whole time. Longtail's voice sounded now, high-pitched with excitement. He must have told that ThunderClan leader and the strongest warrior had left the camp. Why else would they attack when they did? We are the last clan to stand against ShadowClan. We must remain strong, for Tireclaw. His tone had become velvety soft now. He waited in silence for a response. It was Darkstripe who answered, eagerly, as if he were still Tireclaw's apprentice, giving the correct answer to a question on hunting techniques. His words made Firepaw breathless. Fear. Oh, breathless with fear. And the clan would be better off without a traitor like Ravenpaw. I have to say, I agree with you, Darkstripe, murmured Tireclaw, his voice heavy with emotion. Even though he's my own apprentice, he trailed off as if he were too upset to say any more. Firepaw had heard enough. Forgetting all about the wild garlic, he turned and crept as silently and as quickly as he could back towards camp. He decided not to tell Ravenpaw what he had heard. He would be terrified. Firepaw's mind raced. What could he do? Firepaw was the clan deputy, great warrior, and popping with all the other cats. No one was going to listen to any accusations made by an apprentice. But Ravenpaw was in terrible danger. Firepaw shook himself, trying to clear his head. There was only one thing to do. He must tell what he had heard to Blue Star and somehow convince her that he was telling the truth. Chapter 19. Ooh. That's some huge drama going on right now. God, this is when it really kind of kicks in, finally. Ravenpaw and Ravenpaw were still patching the hole when Firepaw reached them. They had left the cap just wide enough for him to squeeze back through. No luck with garlic? Firepaw panted as he slipped in. Darkstripe's prowling around out there. Never mind. Yeah, Greypaw. I can get some tomorrow. I'll go and get you some poppy. I'll go and get you some poppy from Spotted Leaf. Firepaw offered. He was worried about the dull look in his friend's eyes, and the way his muscles seemed stiff with pain. No, don't worry. Yeah, Greypaw. I'll be fine. It's no trouble, Firepaw insisted. And before Greypaw could argue, bounded off towards Spotted Leaf's den. Facing her small clearing, her eyes clouded with unhappiness. Are you okay? Firepaw asked. The spirits of StarClan are restless. I think they are trying to tell me something, she replied, flickering her tail uneasily. What can I do for you? I think Greypaw could do some poppy seeds for his leg, Firepaw explained. His rat bites are still hurting him. The pain of losing Lionheart will make his injuries feel worse. But he'll mend in no time. Don't worry. In the meantime, you're right. Poppy seeds will help. Leaf went into her den and brought out a dried poppy head. She placed it carefully on the ground. Shake out one or two and give them to him. He meowed. Thanks, Firepaw meowed. Are you sure you're okay? I want to see your friend, answered Leaf, avoiding his gaze. Oh my goodness. Firepaw picked up the poppy seed, poppy head between his teeth, and began to walk away. Wait, Leaf hissed suddenly. Firepaw spun around expectantly and met her only gaze. Her eyes burned back at him. Firepaw, she hissed. ShadowClan spoke to me moons ago, before you joined the clan. I sense they want to tell you this now. They said only fire can save our clan. Firepaw stared at Leaf, mystified. Strange passion faded from her eyes. Take care, Firepaw. She meowed in her normal voice. Give me 1 second. I gotta let Maisie out. She is wanting to go out. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Gonna continue on, shall we? Let's see. Oh, too far. There we go. Okay, yep. Take care, Firepaw. She meowed in her normal voice and turned away. See you, Firepaw replied uncertainly. He padded back through the fern tunnel. Her strange words were echoing in his mind, but he could not make sense of them. Why had she shared them with him? Surely fire was an enemy to all who lived in the forest. He shook his head in frustration and bounded over to the apprentice's den. Okay, this is kind of like a relatively short chapter, kind of. Oh, what else? Okay. Firepaw hissed into the ear of his sleeping friend. They'd been allowed to rest all morning after working on repairs for most of the night. Snuggle had ordered them to be ready to begin training at sun high. Strong yellow light filtering through to the den told Firepaw it was already near the net now. He'd had a restless night. Dreams sprawled through his mind each time he fell asleep, confusing and indistinct, but full of darkness and menace. Firepaw hissed again, but his friend did not stir. Eaten 2 of the poppy seeds before he slept, and now he was in a deep slumber. Are you awake, Firepaw? Ravenpaw meowed from his nest. Firepaw spat silently under his breath. He had wanted to talk to Greypaw before Ravenpaw awoke. Yes. Ravenpaw sat up. Goodness gracious. Ravenpaw sat up in his bed of moss and heather and began to wash with quick flex of his tongue. Are you going to wake him? He asked, nodding toward Firepaw. A deep voice growled outside their den. I hope so. Training is about to start. Firepaw and Ravenpaw jumped. Firepaw, wake up. Firepaw poked his friend with one paw. Tarkle was waiting. Firepaw lifted his head. His eyes were still heavy with sleep. Are you ready yet? Called Tarkle. Firepaw and Ravenpaw crept out of the den, blinking as they emerged into sunlight. Oh my goodness. Give me 1 second, guys. My nose is like super itchy right now for some reason. Give me 1 second. Fix that real quick. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, folks. I feel a little bit better. And continue on, shall we? Okay. Here. Carefully. There we go. Okay. Nether is sitting beside a tree stump. The other one coming? He asked. Yes, Firepaw replied, feeling defensive on behalf of his friend. Only just woken up. Chaining will do him good. Okay, I want to make sure I wasn't muted. I would have been so upset if I was still muted. But like, oh no! Feeling defensive on behalf of his friend. He's only just woken up. Training will do him good. Growled Claw. Waited for long enough. Firepaw held a menacing amber gaze for a few moments. Warrior and apprentice. For a heartbeat, their eyes were locked as enemies. Firepaw scrambled sleepily out of the den. Oh, for some reason I lost my place for a second. Oh, I did that. Good job, me. Bluestar will be ready for you in a moment, Firepaw. Announced ThunderClan. The words distracted Firepaw from his anger. His first session with Bluestar. His first training session with Bluestar. Excitement surged through him. He had expected his wounded mentor to be resting still. Firepaw continued ThunderClan. Enjoying my training session. Do you think you're up to it, Ravenpaw? Okay, that's a weird way to say it. Lowered at his apprentice. Oh, you got some pretty nasty nettle stings while the rest of us were fighting those rats. Ravenpaw looked at the ground. I'm fine. He meowed. Ravenpaw followed the deputy out of the camp entrance. Ravenpaw's head hung low as he disappeared through the chorus tunnel. Firepaw sat and waited for Blue Star. She did not keep him long. The Great Queen emerged from her den and padded across the clearing. Her fur was still matted in places where her wounds were fresh, but she betrayed no pain in her confident. In her confident stride. She called to him. Firepaw noticed with surprise that she was alone. Darkstripe and Longtail were nowhere to be seen. A thought occurred to him, and suddenly his excitement was tinged with anxiety. Here was an opportunity to tell Blue Star what he had heard last night. He caught up with her as she headed for the Gore's tunnel, and fell and stepped behind. Will her guards be joining us? He asked hesitantly. Blue Star replied without looking back. I forward Darkstripe and Longtail to help with the camp repairs. Securing ThunderClan's base is our first priority. Firepaw's heartbeat quickened. He would tell her about Ravenpaw as soon as they left camp. The two cats followed the trail to the training hollow. The path was strewn with freshly fallen golden leaves that rustled beneath their paws. Firepaw's mind raced as he searched for suitable words. What should he tell his leader? That Tired Claw was plotting to get rid of his apprentice? And what would he say when Blue Star asked him why? Would he bring himself to say out loud that he suspected Tired Claw had killed Redtail? No, he had no evidence beyond Ravenpaw's excited storytelling at the gathering. By the time they reached the sandy hollow, Firepaw had still not spoken. The hollow was empty. They asked Tiredclaw to hold his training session in another part of the forest today. Blue Star explained as she padded into the center of the hollow. I want to concentrate on your fighting skills. And I want you to concentrate on them too, which means no distractions. I must tell her now about Firepaw. He needs to know about the danger Ravenpaw is in. His paws prickled with anxiety. I won't have another chance like this. Sudden movement flashed in the corner of his eye. Bishop Gray rolled past his nose, and Firepaw fell forward as his forepaws were knocked lightly from underneath him. He staggered, regained his balance, and spun around to see Blue Star sitting calmly beside him. Do I have your attention now? She growled. Yes, Blue Star. Sorry. He replied hastily, looking into her blue eyes. That's better. Firepaw, you have been with us for many moons now. I have watched you fight. With the rats you were quick. With ShadowClan warriors you were fierce. You outwitted Greypaw on the very first day we met. You defeated Yellowfang with your cleverness too. Paused and lowered her voice to an intense hiss. But one day you will meet an opponent who is all these things as well. Quick and fierce and clever. It's my duty to prepare for you for that day. Nice shoulder pop. Sorry. My apologies, chat. Firepaw nodded, completely caught up in her words. Senses were fully alert. All thoughts of Ravenpaw and Tiredclaw had disappeared, and the musty odor and tiny noises of the forest rushed in on him. Let's see how you fight. The star ordered. Attack me. One second, Chad. My mother just got home from work. 1 second there. Okay, we should be good now, chat. Sorry about that. Attack me. Firepaw looked at her, sizing her up and wondering the best way to begin. Blue Star was standing less than 3 rabbit lengths away. She was twice his size, so it would be a waste of effort to begin with the usual paw swipes and wrestling. If he can leap straight onto her back with a powerful enough jump, he might be able to unbalance her. She hadn't taken her piercing blue eyes off him for an instant. Oh, excuse me. Firepaw stared back and leaped. He had aimed to land squarely on her shoulders. The Blue Star was ready for him. He dropped swiftly into a crouch. As Firepaw hit her, she rolled onto her back. Instead of landing on her shoulders, he found himself crashing down toward her into her belly. She caught him with all 4 paws and flung him easily away from her. Firepaw felt he had bundled away like a bothersome kid. He hit the dusty ground hard and lay winded for a moment before he scrambled to his feet. Interesting strategy, but your eyes betrayed where you were aiming. Blue Star growled as she stood up and shook off the dust from her thick coat. Now, try again. This time, Firepaw looked at her shoulders but aimed for her paws. When Blue Star dropped to the ground, he would hit her as she crouched. Firepaw felt a rush of satisfaction as he leaped, but turned to confusion as Blue Star unexpectedly sprang into the air and let him crash into the ground where she had stood just a heartbeat before. Timed it perfectly as he landed, landed down on top of him, washing the breath out of him. Now, try something I don't expect, she hissed into his ear, climbing off him and backing away with a challenging gleam in her eyes. Firepaw scrambled up, panting and shook himself crossly. He of Yellowfang had not been so tricky. He hissed and leaped again, this time as he flew at Blue Star. He stretched out his 4 paws. She reared up on her hind legs and used her 4 paws to twist him away as he felt himself slipping. Firepaw scrambled with his hind paws in the sand, but it was too late and he flopped heavily onto his side. Firepaw, Blue Star meowed calmly as once more he struggled to his paws. You're strong and quick, but you must learn to keep control of your speed and body weight so that it's not easy for me to convert remember to read that. My goodness. You're strong and quick, but you must learn to keep control of your speed and body weight so that it's not so easy for me for me to unbalance you. Try again. Firepaw backed away, hot, dusty, and out of breath. Frustration racked through him, determined to get the better of his mentor this time. Slowly he crouched and began to creep toward Blue Star. She mirrored his crouch and hissed into his face as he approached. He raised a paw and swiped at her left ear. She ducked to avoid his strike and reared up, towering over him. Quickly, Firepaw rolled onto his back, slid beneath her body, and in one fast movement, kicked both of his back legs upward toward her belly. Blue Star was flung backward and fell into the sandy earth with a loud grunt. Firepaw flipped himself over and leaped to his paws. He felt jubilant. And he saw Blue Star lying in the dirt. First time he remembered her wounds. He reopened them, dashed to her side, and stared down at her. To his relief, her eyes stared proudly back at him. That was much better. She puffed. She stood and shook herself. Now, it's my turn. She sprang at him, knocking him to the ground, then retreated and let him pick himself up before leaping again. Firepaw braced himself as she rolled him over easily. Look at my size, Firepaw. Don't try to stand up against my attack. Use your wits. If you are fast enough to avoid me, then avoid me. Firepaw scrambled to his feet again, preparing for her attack. This time he didn't dig his paws into the soft sand, but stood lightly, keeping his weight on his toes. As Blue Star flew toward him, he hopped neatly out of her path, reared up onto his hind legs, and with his forepaws pushed her flying body onward past him. Blue Star landed gracefully on all four paws and turned. Excellent. You learn quickly. Excellent. You learn quickly. Bird. That was an easy move. Let's see how you deal with this one. He trained until sunset. Firepaw heaved a sigh of relief when he heard Blue Star's meow. That's enough for today. She seemed a little bit more tired and stiff, but she still leaped easily out of the sandy hollow. Firepaw scrambled after her. His muscles were aching in, his head spinning with all he had learned. As they trekked together back through the trees, he couldn't wait to tell Greypaw and Ravenpaw about his training session. And it wasn't until they reached the camp boundary that Firepaw realized he'd forgotten to tell Blue Star about Ravenpaw. That is where we're going to leave off for the night. We are on the very last few chapters of the first of Volume 1 of Warriors. So yeah, a lot sinking with that one. Truthfully, gonna be a lot happening in the next 5 chapters, and then much more is gonna be kicking back up in Volume 2 with the whole betrayal of, or the whole possibility of the betrayal of Ravenpaw, and Tireclaw accusing him of being a traitor. So that is going to be quite a lot to take in, truthfully. But yeah, that is where we're gonna leave it out for the night, folks. I hope you all enjoyed the bedtime stories for the night. Like I said, I'm sorry I wasn't able to stream the other day, last 2 days there. I was a little bit tired, especially with how late I was. Let's say how late I was out. It was just more like with how exhausted I was by the end of my trip with my mom. I was incredibly exhausted. I fell asleep and I was like, I'm exhausted. I can't do streams. So I was like, you know what? I will save it for tomorrow. I hope you all enjoyed the stream tonight. Let's see who we can go raid for tonight. Let me take a peek. And just like that, Maisie is crying at my door per usual. Okay. I know we can go raid tonight. I have the perfect one we can go raid tonight. I haven't raided her in a hot minute either, so this will be a nice little treat. But yeah, thank you all for coming out today. I hope you all enjoyed bedtime stories tonight. Why did I call it that? I'm smart. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the bedtime stories tonight. I will be live tomorrow. We are going to be hopping right back into Amnesia Memories, where we are going to officially start our brand new route, which we unlocked the other day, which we unlocked last week. That is going to be the Joker route, or aka Ukio. So we're going to be checking out his route and seeing if we can't piece together everything that's been going on with the story so far, especially with him being included in some of the scenarios that have been going on. So we are going to go say hello. So we're going to be hopping back in Amnesia. I haven't had a chance to make the schedule yet, unfortunately, for this week, but I will see about making a scuff schedule for this week here, just so you guys can keep up with what I'm going to be doing next week. But yeah, if you guys wish to hop in, but yeah, and if anyone new in chat here, we do have a Discord here if you want to hop on over, get to know me on stream, get to know when I go live notifications, get to know a bunch of other fellow streamers, and also get to know a nice little community as well. I also have a YouTube Spawn channel as well if you want to see what I've done previously, and also check out my previous the first beginning of the bedtime stories ASMR readings here if you guys want to check that out. Also a bunch of other games I've done as well. Get to hear what I sound like normally when I'm not doing the quiet voice here. But in the meantime, folks, let's go ahead and start the raid out. Let me go ahead and get a customized raid for you guys tonight. I just realized I don't have that on here. I am smart. Yeah, for anyone who is subscribed to the channel, you can go ahead and copy down that raid message right there for customized Pride Month here. And then we have a one for the followers here if you were not subscribed to the channel at all. I'm gonna snooze those. We're gonna be raiding out here. But yeah, we do. Yeah, if you guys want to follow us on over to the raid tonight, we're gonna go ahead and go raid my good friend Miss Pink Moo Boba. She's currently playing some Borderlands 4. It's been a hot minute since I last raided her, so we're gonna go say hello to her. She is also currently going through a brand new model update, which is actually gonna be in a few short weeks here, if I remember correctly. We're gonna go show Miss Moo some love. Not really an ASMR time, but it's been a while since I said hello to her, and you guys will really enjoy her a lot. So, hope you guys all enjoyed her tonight. But yeah, thank you all for coming out today. I have to go deal with my cat before she starts tearing down my door. Yeah, she is currently going through a 2.0 model here in about 2 weeks or so, so we're gonna go ahead and go give her some love and affection and attention. She is a lovely Moo Cow VTuber, lovely woman, love her to death, but we're gonna go say hello to her tonight. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed tonight's stream tonight, folks. For that, I will see you all tomorrow for Amnesia Memories. But right now, have a good night, and sayonara, doki doki, annyeong!